You're live.
You're live. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry, guys.
Have we been live? I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
I don't know if we've been live. We've been talking for 10 minutes and I don't know if we've been live or not. Can somebody leave a comment if we've just gone live or if we should repeat everything we just said? I think that we're just going live. Okay. We've been talking for 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. I'm Kai Shanti. This is Tixo Shanti.
Hello.
This is Lotus Shanae.
Are we gonna have to say it all again?
And we've been talking for 10 minutes about stuff and realized we probably weren't live yet. So we'll start over.
Okay, yay.
Tixo's 13 years old. Lotus is 8 years old.
I'm laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm laughing.
And we just went through the birth story, so we can do it again. So this conscious parenting idea started really before the kids were born, and I decided that I wanted to raise them as naturally as possible, lovingly, as consciously as possible. So I had read a book on attachment parenting. You have to watch this, okay? I had read a book on attachment parenting and really liked that idea where you pretty much don't, you can go get a snack and come back. Pretty much don't put the baby down for the first 6 months.
Can you let me know when my birth story starts?
Just come back up after you get your snack, okay?
Okay.
We'll be here. So, where was I?
Attachment parenting.
Yeah, attachment parenting. So we did that. I did that with Tixo, and the idea was to have a home birth with Tixo. We had a great Amish midwife who had birthed some other babies in town here, friends of ours. And I had been seeing her throughout my whole pregnancy, and I had planned to have a home birth, but unfortunately, I had a problem with the placenta, where the placenta was really close to the birth canal, and I had a lot of bleeding. I think at 5 months I had a lot of bleeding. I chose not to go to the hospital at that point. And then maybe a month before the baby was due, I had another big gush of bleeding. And at that point, I just decided to go the hospital route because I didn't want to take any chances. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up having an emergency C-section because the morning that he was born, I had a whole lot of blood and got rushed to the hospital and ended up having a C-section. So it wasn't at all what was planned, but it was still beautiful. And that was a big lesson, just like you can have your plans, but really God has a bigger plan and you just got to go with whatever happens. And it was beautiful. And after he was born, they took him over and they were examining him, and I was just praying because I wanted to hold him, of course, right when he was born and nurse him, and I couldn't do that. So I saw this huge angel descend right over him on the table, and he didn't cry for like 2 hours. You didn't cry after you were born. Oh. Yeah, he was very content. So I think this angel was just holding him. So that was good. And we nursed till he was about 4.5 years old. And I nursed both kids till they were 4.5. And that's about the time when each of them decided that they were done. And it's also about the time when I ran out of milk. So we haven't done vaccines or shots of any sort. Tixo went to the hospital a bit. I wasn't sure how I was going to do with the doctors and hospitals. I don't have anything against Western medicine, but it's just not my natural instinct. I'm more of a natural herbal person. So we go to the doctor if it's absolutely necessary, but we don't make a habit out of it. But since Tixo ended up being born in the hospital, he had a doctor examine him. He was a really sweet older doctor. And so we said, okay, we'll go in for the first checkup, like a week or something. And I took him in and I said to Rod, their dad, I said, if they give me any problem about shots, because I had heard this, like they're going to give you a big lecture about shots. So I said, if they give me any problem about shots,
Can you take these out so I can...
If they give me any problem about shots, I'm not going back. So we went in and the doctor said something about shots. And he said, "Oh, no problem. I have lots of parents who choose not to give their."
I could put these on.
Bodhi, if I'm talking, we're on a live stream, so if I'm talking, I'll give you a chance to talk, okay? But if I'm talking, you need to let me talk. So anyway, so Tico did end up getting physicals over the years, and he did have to go to the hospital once for a wrist injury.
I had a sling.
You want to talk about your wrist?
Yeah, I had a sling and a cast for about a month, and then I don't remember whether or not I set this up, but when I took a shower, I'd have to put a plastic bag over the cast, and then I don't actually remember whether or not I kept the zipper a little bit open. I feel like I probably did. That.
When you got it wet.
Yeah, so basically I got it wet, and I was like, oh no, I have to take off the cast. Because it was so itchy, and I was just like, yes, I can move my wrist.
That's not fun.
Yeah. I remember taking like a butter knife and sticking it down the cast, trying to itch my arm.
I think I did successfully not put him down for 6 months. Actually, the attachment parenting thing. I took him to the bathroom. I took him everywhere with me. He napped on me. I wore a little thing where he actually napped on me.
Like those baby
Walking.
carrier things.
What about when you
your
took a
chest?
shower?
I'd give you to somebody else to hold. I didn't take many showers at that time because I would only take a shower if somebody was there. And it's funny because grandma didn't like this whole idea. She thought I was nuts the way I wanted to raise my kids. And she didn't like this idea of not putting the child down for 6 months. And I came down and I was very strict about the whole thing. I've loosened up quite a bit.
Sounds like you care about your child a little too much.
Wow, I cared about something. So I came downstairs and she was supposed to be holding him and she had him on the couch. And I was like, oh, she's not holding him.
What do you say to her?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. But I've definitely loosened up. So yeah, so with Lotus, Lotus's birth, we
had a home birth.
It was interesting because I had a miscarriage before I got pregnant with Lotus, and I was 44 years old. So I had this miscarriage when I was 43.
I'm taller than you.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't think I wanted another baby, which is probably why I had the miscarriage. And then after I lost that baby, I got so upset and really over the top upset and decided that I really did want another baby. So I put all my effort into really getting healthy and on every level, physically, mentally, spiritually, looking at any reasons why I would have lost the other baby. And the minute we tried again, she came in. So she was definitely waiting. I had a friend, my friend Melanie, if you watch this, Melanie, who helped me birth Lotus. I wouldn't have gotten through the birth without Melanie. Seriously, this woman came over and she held my hands for the entire 10 hours or whatever it was. I would not let her go. I wouldn't let her look away from me. I'm like, don't lose eye contact with me. She got me through the birth. I was in a tub right in this exact spot, actually.
Yeah, right here, actually.
And she was leaning over the side of the tub, holding my hands.
In this exact room, over there.
Talking me through this, energetically supporting me through the entire birth. That poor woman.
Also,
but
my birth was...
I don't think I could have done it without her.
My birth was apparently very late, like 2 a.m.
It was 3:45. We started labor 6 a.m. and then you were born 3:45 the next morning. So we did that. It was a home birth with a midwife. So the midwife did come. And the interesting thing, honey, I need you to keep your bottom covered up, okay? Unless you want to go put pants on. Then you can roll around if you want to put pants on, okay? So
I'll put some pants on. My legs are cold anyways.
Okay.
Be right back.
All right. I'm talking about your birth now.
And I was 5.
Tell your experience of the story. Poor kid. And I have that tea.
Yeah. So pretty much all day long, I just, what time was it when we set up the time? It was 5 or 6 o'clock?
At night, yeah. So I'd probably been in labor for 12 hours.
Yeah. A little while, and then we had a hose, because the bathroom is right over there, and we had a hose coming into the room to fill it up. And then Daddy was there with the pooper scooper, as we call it.
Yeah, pooper scooper. There was poop and blood, and wow, it was a messy birth.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, that went till
I
about,
feel like the water would look like tomato juice.
Something like that.
yeah, except more disgusting.
So,
And yeah, I was up all night. And the interesting thing about that is the next day was my first day of kindergarten.
he went to school for 1 year at a little public private school. It was like a little kind of one-room schoolhouse kind of school.
Yeah, my first
And
day
his
of kindergarten
first
was
the day after the birth.
I
'Cause
remember showing up there.
I went into labor on Labor Day. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember walking into class and I was like, sorry I'm late. My sister was born yesterday.
Yeah, we did take him in. Rod took him in late on that day.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, so this birth, as with Tico, I was with the midwife the whole time. If somebody's watching, can you just leave a comment so we know that this is actually going? Can you shut the door, sweetheart?
Yeah.
So for Tico's birth, we had been with a midwife the whole time and ended up in the hospital. With Lotus's birth, because I had the miscarriage, I was seeing a doctor for my whole pregnancy just to keep clarifying that everything was good. And they wanted to, because I had a certain kind of C-section where I had a T cut because I had a vein that was really artery they didn't want to cut into. So it wasn't, they wouldn't let me do a VBAC. They wouldn't let me have a natural birth in the hospital as much as I tried to talk them into it. And
This isn't exactly live.
hey, honey, can you let mommy talk? Because I keep losing my train of thought. So I decided to have her at home in a tub, even though they were just cautioning me with all this "you can die" kind of stuff. I meditated on it, which I do with everything, and I was told, no, you'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So we fully put our trust in that everything's going to be fine, and we had her at home in the tub. And it was not an easy birth, but it was fine. Everything was fine. She was healthy. I was healthy. And we got through it great. And so we also did a Lotus birth with her, which means that you don't cut the cord and you leave her attached to the placenta until it falls off naturally, which took
a Lotus birth.
It's called Lotus. Takes about 3 days.
A Lotus birth is the
For us,
same.
it took about 3 days. So that was cool. I wasn't going anywhere anyway. I pretty much just laid in bed with her. I was very sore
Wait, can I say
after the birth.
something?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. 1 minute. So the placenta was attached and we just laid in bed. It was awesome. Go ahead.
I remember for like the first couple days after I was born, I would scream as loud as my baby lungs could go if someone
You
even
remember?
touched me.
She came out totally the opposite. So Tico came out completely quiet, not a sound out of him until he started getting hungry. Then he started screaming. Lotus came out screaming, and then she went completely quiet because she didn't want to be held. Anytime we try to pick her up, she'd start screaming. So she just wanted to lay
I feel like
next to me and nurse, but she did not want to be picked up.
I remember you told me I would scream as loud as my baby lungs could go.
You did. You screamed. So that's our birth stories. And like I said, I nursed them both till they were 4.5. Didn't do shots. So Lotus has never been to the doctor. And again, it's not something that, it's not me being neglectful. As some people have said, I'm being neglectful.
Yeah, I haven't been to the doctor one single day of the 8 years I've been alive. Not even when I was born. Never.
And one time she had what appeared to be whooping cough when she was a baby. I don't know if it was whooping cough, but it was scary. And I basically sat awake with her. There are no comments. I basically sat awake with her for 6 days and didn't sleep and just kept nursing her.
You pulled 6 all-nighters?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I was delirious. I was completely delirious, but I kept meditating. Should I take her? There were a couple of nights where I was like, I'm taking her in to the emergency room. And I kept getting, no, she's fine. If she really needs to go, she'll let you know. That was the message I was getting. So we didn't go and we made it through. would you like to say about
I don't know.
anything?
I don't really remember anything other than the actual birth. That's the only thing that that was the only thing that was crazy enough to stay in my memory.
Oh, with Lotus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really remember anything.
How about
else.
you, Lodi? What do you want to talk about?
Do you remember anything from my birth?
Do you? Were you around? Were you somewhere floating above watching the birth?
I don't even remember stuff from when I was 3.
But I thought maybe, you were in there watching or something. No? Go ahead, say you can talk. I'm giving you free rein now.
And I remember kind of like how Chico sprained his wrist recently. I actually sprained my own wrist.
I'm wondering why the camera got so blurry.
Yeah. Oh, it's just refocusing.
Okay.
Remember that?
There we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, me and Tico were wrestling. We like to do it. Well, we haven't actually done it in a while. After I sprained my wrist, like we do this thing where we put like a bunch of the couch cushions on the ground and like
We try to push each other off.
yeah. And we actually had an incident. Tico actually used to be in karate class, and he twisted my wrist, but he twisted it really far.
What does me being in karate class have anything to do with it?
Did you do a karate move on her?
No, I didn't. Anyway,
No,
it wasn't
I don't
karate.
mean
It was
karate.
Hapkido.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I meant with that has to do with it because like I think that's where you learn these.
Okay, so you hurt your wrist, and what did we do? Mommy probably did a meditation with you, right?
Yeah. Well,
And then you have
that
to
night
clean.
when I went to bed, you did a healing on me, and I actually own a medical kit, and I put. It's not like a proper cast, but I have like cloth that I put around it, and I have like some ointment stuff that I put on it.
Yeah, the cream. That's
Traumeel, which we love. It's like
Yeah,
an
we use
arnica
it.
and some other things, but boy, is that great for bruises if you have kids.
yeah, just put it on and it heals it up.
And another
Keep
time,
some Traumeel and arnica around. That's what we always have.
another time, this was less recent, like when I was 5 or something. I twisted my leg.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was this one, I believe.
Okay.
Can we get to
Yeah.
the schooling?
We can get to the schooling. I just wanted to talk about a little bit about, I just want to say that I am a firm believer in nursing. And like I said, my kids haven't had shots. They haven't. And I know that that's some people may agree or disagree with that, but we haven't done shots, and I nursed them both till 4.5. And I'm a firm believer that they get everything they need from mama's milk if they get mama's milk. And that it's God's way of protecting them from all that stuff. So yes. And even, once Tico had a little bit of a speech issue when he was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't pronounce certain letters, consonants, and G, and a couple other ones. So we took him to the doctor, and the doctor said, anytime I have somebody with a speech issue, I immediately check their hearing. So we went to a hearing specialist. And it was very interesting. She could pinpoint the exact range of where he couldn't hear. And that was exactly the sounds that he couldn't pronounce. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like sometimes Western medicine's really cool. So it was showing exactly, what are we doing? It was showing exactly, what was correct without. So rather than taking the medicine that they wanted to give us, why do I look orange? I got herbs for him. I got herbs to clear up his ear canal. I think it was plantain. Yeah. Plantago, plantain, and it totally cleared it up. We went back to the doctor. Everything was fine. And eventually his speech improved as well. So
I still have a little teeny tiny bit. I think.
no, you don't. You do? You think you do with your speech?
Yeah, I thought I still have a tiny bit. I'm not sure.
You commented, silly. Lotus made a comment. Okay, so Tico would like to talk about our schooling /
Yes.
unschooling.
That's what we call it.
So this is another funny thing because Grandma, when Tico was very little, she was so afraid that I was going to homeschool him. She said, "You're not going to homeschool him, are you?"
I don't remember that.
And I was like, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it at that point.
It's the devil.
But we
Why
had,
does he have such an issue with homeschooling?
I don't know. I'm not trying to, it's fine. It's just her way, but it was just funny. So there was a cool school in our town, private school called West Branch School that I always thought would be a really cool place to send my kids.
Yeah, it was a nice school.
And so he actually ended up going to school for 1 year in kindergarten, but it was still school. It was still like, you have to get up at a certain time, you have to be there at a certain time, and you have to stay till a certain time, and you have to follow a schedule. And it ended up, I think in the early days of this school, it was much more open and cool, but I think it's becoming more normal like school.
And I really liked my science teacher. She was fun, but then
Science / math.
science / math. Because there were only like 3 teachers there, really, in the area I was in.
Yeah, and so you really had fun with her.
Yeah, we had fun. But then there's the other teacher for reading. I did not like her.
Well, you didn't like her methods of teaching, and
Yeah,
it was
And then there's the recess lady.
But there was a recess lady?
Yeah, she got mad at me one time just because I went up the slide.
Oh, you went up the slide, yeah. So there were rules, you know, school has rules, and we didn't
Mommy,
do so well with the rules.
it says
So-
started streaming less than 1 minute ago.
Hmm. Well, I don't know.
It's streaming.
So we only did that for 1 year.
Yeah.
I did ask him to stay in the school for a year. I was like, well, let's just play the year out. But if you want, so we've been unschooling ever since, right? And do you want to talk about what that is for you?
Yeah, so to me, it's just really no curriculum. I still, at least this year, we've done it a little bit more. I'll just focus on this week, because I think we've narrowed it down more this week. This year. So, yeah, each week we have this paper, and it's a bunch of things that the school wants. So I'll pick a thing each week, and I'll study that. Like this week I'm studying probability, and then the week before this I was studying Sudan. So one of the things was I spin the globe and then pick a point, and then pick wherever my finger lands. Then I study that place. So that was Sudan.
Yes. So that was a fun geography thing. So basically, what like we do have people commenting. Sorry. Sorry, everybody's been saying hi. We weren't looking in the right place. So hello, Joe Valley says hello. Sai says you just went live. Thank you. Hi, Henry. Henry says hi, Tico and Lotus. And Daddy says hi, kids. Tusai says it's doing good. Thank you. How do you find your learning materials for homeschooling? Okay, thank you. This all feels a little chaotic, so I apologize.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
this is my first time doing
Oh,
this.
Tusai is Alex. Okay, good. Okay, so homeschooling materials. Well, this is what we do. We do unschooling, which is very much child-centered and child-led. So it's been very experimental with me as far as finding the right way to do it, if there is a right way to do it. Really, materials are just what they want. It's just what they like. For Tico, he's completely into computers. What all are you into?
Yeah, computer science. I use math when it's useful, just where it's useful. I use a lot of math when I'm making
But
stuff.
you have your steering wheel, he has a steering simulator, he has a flight simulator, he has a camera. We got him a camera because they wanted to get in photography. So really, our school materials are really just what his interests are, which for Tico happen to be quite pricey. Now it's guitar, bass. So he's playing guitar, bass, piano, and drums.
Not drums anymore, sadly.
The drums aren't set up right now, but in general. So
Yeah.
those are our learning materials. So this is what I'm doing this year. Every year is a little different. We have a great evaluator for our homeschooling who happened to unschool one of her children. So she really works with us. It's wonderful. But we still have to comply with certain state standards. So what you need to do at the beginning of the year is you need to turn in a list of objectives for each child. So what I do with and it's, it's like you have to do certain things for English, math at different ages. So what I do with them is I say, okay, what do you think you want to do for math this year? Or what do you think you want to do for science this year? Something that you might explore anyway, something that you might enjoy doing anyway.
Mhm.
And that's what I write down for the objectives. And it doesn't always stay, like their interests change, obviously. So if the interest changes, then we'll just change it.
Yeah.
In
As long as it's still in that field, then.
Yeah, as long as it's still something science.
Yeah.
Up until this point in time, I did, which I did not like. I did a thing where I had to like write down what they did every day. So I would literally go through the day and say, okay, Tika, what did you do today? And we'd write it all down. I got so tired of that. This year we have a wonderful thing we're doing where we have a Facebook group with our evaluator. So all I do is I post things that they're working on. I just take videos and pictures of them with things that they're working on, and I post it in the group. And so she gets to see more of what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
What it actually looks like every day. And yeah, so that was our geography project last week where Tico spun the globe.
And I also studied democracy and monarchy.
Which he decided he wanted to do, the things he wanted to learn about. So that's the way that we do it. That's the way that we're doing it, to leave it as open for them as possible. So it's not fully unschooling where you just, let the kids do absolutely whatever they want all day long. But you pretty much are.
Yeah.
Doing what you want all day long.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how does that make your life more exciting than if you're in school?
Well, I'm doing whatever I want all day long. No.
So I have a question, because a lot of people say to me, well, that's great. Your kids are smart and motivated. But if I did that with my kid, you look really little because you're way behind me now. If I did that with my kid, they would just sit and play video games all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, that's because they've been told what to do for so long. You need to give them, usually they say you need to give them 6 months to a year to just mellow out and find what they're interested in.
Because that's the other thing. I personally don't have that much experience, but this is just kind of what I'm guessing. When you're trapped in a forced learning environment for so long, then like all you're really gonna want to do is play video games and relax to kind of, I guess I'll call it an escape. I don't know whether or not I call it an escape, but just more of a relaxing thing from school.
Yeah, when you're used to being on a strict schedule and being told what to do, then you want to just,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if you can do whatever you want to do all day long, then you might do something more like what I do. Because technically, depending on how you look at it, I do play video games all day long. But the games that I play personally, I think are a little bit, it's not just.
Well, first of all, you don't
games.
play any violent game. That's something that both my kids have had a little trouble with, is that no violence. No violent games. So that's been hard, because when they're online with their friends and they're playing something and then their friends say, oh, let's go play this thing, and my kids go, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. That's been challenging over the years.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
No, I don't think there's really much to talk about there. But as far as the games I actually play, huh?
Would you say Among Us is violent?
I don't know. But yeah, like the games I play, I used to play Straw Mechanic a lot. I don't really play Straw Mechanic anymore.
I love
I don't know why
Scrap
I'm saying the
Mechanic.
names. Nobody
I
probably
love
knows what that
Scrap
means.
Well, maybe they do. Scrap Mechanic isn't, I mean, I don't consider it a video game. You're building.
Yeah, like Straw Mechanic, I play
building.
Stormworks most of the time. And yeah, I'm building things and I'm making things. And
I love Scrap
like
Mechanic.
for example, in Stormworks, I'm using a lot more math and actually designing things and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so he builds really cool submarines and airplanes, and he was with a group of friends that was building an airplane project. So they would
Yeah.
all build different parts of the airplane. The way he's describing it, it's just very normal for him. But when I look at it, or his dad looks at it, we're amazed at what he's working on and the intricacies of what you're building, and that he has to code and program and do all these things. So to me, that's not a video game. To me, you're learning.
Yeah, I'm actually making stuff.
You're making really cool stuff on there. So
Like my Dorito that goes 900 miles an hour.
right, it's a Dorito submarine.
A Dorito.
So,
Yeah, it's a
Bodhi,
burrito.
so did you want to say anything else about unschooling?
I don't.
So they wake up, they go to bed when they want to go to bed. Now he has friends that are out in California, so he'll stay up pretty late to play with his friends
Yeah, usually
online,
Like
1:30,
1 a.m.
which means he can sleep in the morning. We don't have to get him up at really
Yeah.
super early to go to school.
Yeah, I usually wake up like 11:30.
He sets his
I
own
used
schedule.
to wake up at 9. Now I kind of wake up at
And I don't use
10,
any
11.
alarm. I don't use any alarms. I just wake up when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
And sorry, Lodi, I'll let you talk in a second. So as far as music, how has that evolved?
Yeah, so it started
that
as
reminds me of Simply Piano.
I think the first interest was drums when I was 3. My third or fourth birthday that I got the drum kit.
2 or 3.
Yeah, it was
second birthday.
Yeah, it was either my second or third birthday, and I got a drum kit. And my dad's a drummer, so he showed me a little bit of stuff on drums, and I didn't really go off of that. I just mess around on drums every once in a while. But when I was probably 11 or 12 or something around there, 10 or 11 or 12, something around there, somewhere in that area, I started actually getting into drums more, and I learned more. And then at one point also piano. What was that? 7 or 8?
Well, I guess the point that I'm
piano.
getting at is he has discovered music on his own. So
Yeah.
I'm from a very musical family, but it was more about taking lessons, being in a choir. It's really interesting to watch Tico.
Oh,
He took violin lessons when he was 5, and it got to the point where he
Tico,
hated
you forgot
practicing,
about
so he
guitar.
stopped because I didn't want to get into that
Yeah.
whole struggling to practice thing. So I just let it go. And now he's picked up 4 instruments on his own. And now he is taking guitar lessons because he really wants to take guitar lessons
Yeah.
from an awesome teacher at Uptown Music Collective in town, which is an awesome music school.
Mhm.
So he's doing it all because he loves it. And so it's really interesting to watch because this is just so not how I was raised. I'll go out and he'll be kind of on his computer building stuff or communicating with his friends, and he'll have his guitar. And so he'll play a little guitar, then he'll build a little bit of something, and then he'll go over and play a little bit of piano and learn some stuff on piano.
So I read a little bit.
And this is what he does. And then we usually take time to read together as a family. We all have a book that we're reading, different books that we're reading. We'll sit together and read together as a
I'm
family.
reading Fellowship of the Ring.
Fellowship of the Ring. So
I really wanted to do
it's just this flow that happens. So somebody asked if you're meditating every day. So yes, they do meditate every day. And that isn't always something they want to do, but it's a one thing that I really am firm about. And the reason I'm firm about it is because I want them to find what's in their heart and find what's really important to them and never get swayed from that. And I want them to develop a practice so that they can go inside, know what's important to them, find their own truth throughout their whole life. I want this to be set up now so that throughout their whole life, they will always have that established within them. If they're ever questioned, if somebody ever tries to get them to do something they don't want to do, they know, go into my heart, check in my heart, see what's really important to me, see what I really want in this situation. And we don't use the word bored. They are not allowed to use the word I'm bored, or this is boring, because
Unless we're waiting, if we're on a plane or something, sitting there on a plane.
no, I still want to use it, sorry. Because here's the deal,
Sometimes in the DMV.
is what we
I'm
say.
never bored because I have access to my iPad.
If we say, if you're bored, then you need to go in your heart space because you're not truly in the moment, because you can't be bored if you're truly in the moment, because there's always something to find beautiful in the moment. So That is, yes, they meditate every morning, 1 minute per age. So Lotus meditates for 8 minutes. Tico meditates for 13 minutes, sometimes longer. Do you want to talk about your meditations? What do you do in meditation?
I actually meditate for like
Yeah,
20 something minutes because I get carried away.
Oh, you do? Would you like to talk about your meditations?
Yeah.
I've kind of just been looking at our new house, before we did the video for a children's meditation. Make sure to go check that out. But ever since I did that video, I've been doing what we did in it. I've been exploring the chest.
Yeah, Lotus likes to go when she meditates. So with Tico, I did guided meditation with him for about a year before he started on his own. Lotus is much more of a individual. She doesn't like to be guided with much. So I guided her for a few weeks and then she went off on her own. But in the guided meditations, we often go and find a treasure chest and see what's in the treasure chest. So with Tico's guided meditations, we had a castle that we would go to and find all the beautiful things, right? It's their way of finding what's in their heart and what's important to them. And if they are bored, that was my point about getting bored. I would say, look, if you're bored, then let's go in your heart and we'll find something that you really want to do. And that's how we get over boredom. We go in the heart and find what's important and fun. Sorry, did I cut you off? Did you want to say more about your meditation?
Yeah. Well, like ever since we did like I said, I've been going in my chest. I haven't actually been finding any gifts.
No gifts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet. When I was I was obviously checking the chest every day when I meditated, and I also was exploring our dream house.
Okay. So we've all been manifesting our dream house together. So we all see that in our heart space in whatever way we choose to do that.
Maybe I'll build my dream house in either Minecraft or Bloxburg.
Yeah, and then maybe manifest it in our daily reality as well.
Yeah.
My
dream house isn't the ginormous mansion that you and Tico are hoping for.
No, but it's fine. God will give us all what we want. It's hard for me to sit down, so I'm not there. So the other thing about meditation is that I meditate with them whenever we need to. So with Tico right now, it's once a month.
We have a session.
We have a session once a month, and so that's meditation. I know we go into meditation together and explore. It's just like if I was doing a session with somebody else, we explore what's going on with him and what he may need to look at, or whenever they have physical issues, I work on them. I do like healing meditation with them. They've both had Shaktipat several times. I mean, it's kind of just part of our normal daily life. They get a little Shaktipat here and there, and yeah, and mommy works on your belly, and they're both really receptive. Most of the time, if something hurts or if they don't feel good at night, and we do a session, they usually wake up feeling much better, unless they're really, really sick, and then I just work with them the whole time until we work through it.
Like when I had a stomach virus for a week almost.
Last Christmas, you were very sick, and again, it got scary with him, and I just asked God, do I need to take him to the
last
hospital?
Christmas, like everyone.
We all got very sick.
And then we did just.
No, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. You don't need to take him. So I fully trust in what I'm being told from the divine. That's how I raise my kids. Everything for me is meditation. Our whole life is meditation. So we do sit and physically meditate, but really all day long, I'm always checking in. And I know when something's going on with them. Usually with Tico, when I say, okay, it's time to have a session, something will come up that he's been dealing with that week, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, okay, that's why we needed to do this session. And Lotus has had some issues with having extreme fits over the years, but she's getting better, right, Lodi?
Yeah,
It's-
I've barely
it's-
had
it's
any
not-
fits for months.
I
Yeah.
know. But
It's much better than.
we would meditate on that. I feel like we were releasing a lot of karmas, like I don't know what it was, but I feel like a lot of karmas were being released during that process. And yeah, so meditation and spirituality, it's just our life. It's just the way we live. It's just kind of our life. So
And I think we already talked about this in our individual interviews, but should we talk a little bit about being vegan if there's new viewers watching this?
yeah, you can talk about being vegan. And somebody asked about hi Tori. Hi Tori. This is really, she's the one who recommended doing this. But oh, somebody said, Lotus, thank you for that tip for our kids. I'm not sure what tip, but so, for the kids meditating. How old were they when they started meditating? 6. 6 was the age, because the thing was with Tico is that it
No,
was.
I was like 5 when I started meditating.
Well, you both meditated a little bit before 6, but daily.
Yeah.
We started daily at 6.
Yeah.
Really 7. Lotus had trouble with 6. She did better at 7. Tico was able to do 6, but it was the year that we stopped going to school. And I said, okay, here's the deal. If you were going to unschool and you don't go to school, then you need to meditate every day. So that was my deal with him. And then I pretty much did guided meditation with him every day for about a year. She didn't pick up on it so well when she was 6. It was more like 7 for her that she was able to start going and meditating, doing the daily meditation.
And she did the Dr. Joe Kids Meditation program.
She did the Dr. Joe Dispenza has some kids meditations. We did a little bit, but it wasn't really
Only for about a week or 2.
Wasn't really her thing so much. That's why we did the guided meditation last week, more of the kind that she likes to do and a little bit shorter.
And also
But-
a very exciting.
Very exciting. So we might do some more kids meditations like that she can follow along with.
I meditate.
Someone asked, what is toast sleeping like, and is it hard to do night sleep?
Well, I wanted to address Tori's question about who is thinking of being a mother and wants to do conscious parenting, attachment parenting. I do, and I can't remember the name of the book, Tori. I will post that in a comment. There was a great attachment parenting book that I read, and it was a woman who had spent time with tribal people, and that's how they raised her kids. And she wrote a book about it, and that was what really inspired me to do it. So I will figure out the name of that. It's funny when things pass, like that part of the parenting feels like so long ago now. But I loved that book, and it was so inspirational to me. And I don't know if the birthing was in there too, of having the really quiet, low light, peaceful birth as opposed to the hospital birth. And like I said, everything changed with Tico. We were going to have this really peaceful, quiet birth, and all of a sudden I'm laying on this bed with my arms strapped down, and there's this bright light over me, and my stomach's being cut open. So sometimes you just gotta go with what life presents.
And you said you were laying on the table and you couldn't even feel the table below you.
And I
You were
couldn't feel
completely
anything.
numb.
It was a weird sensation because they were cutting open my stomach. And the doctor was talking about where she could recycle her scrap metal as she was stitching me up. And I remember they moved this is a bizarre sensation for anybody who's had this kind of anesthesia. They were moving my legs, and it felt like I could feel my legs still laying on the table as they were moving my legs. It's very, very bizarre.
It's like your body kept the sensation, it just couldn't change.
Yeah, it was really weird.
That's weird.
But I made sure we were like those crazy hospital, those crazy people that the hospital dreads. I made a whole birth plan, and I made sure that Rod could be with him the entire time. Like I said, I don't want you leaving his side. And they will do that for you. You have to know, yes, you can, hold on. You have to know that if you have a baby in the hospital, you can make crazy recommendations and they will accommodate you mostly if it's legal. And, but you really have to ask for it because otherwise they won't. Because Rod was in there when they were bathing him and everything else. He was right next to him and he saw all these other dads kind of outside of the room looking at their babies. not knowing that they could do that. So I know that it's, the hospital kind of talks about you, like you're one of those ones that they talk about, but who cares? Do what you need to do with your baby and with your child, because
Why is
like
my leg so pretty?
birthing is, to me, is really important.
Why is my leg?
What did you want to say, little?
I remember you actually wanted to birth me with the dolphins in the ocean.
I so wanted to birth her with the dolphins in the ocean.
I think that's why I'm obsessed with dolphins.
She's obsessed
sure
with
how that
dolphins. But yes, what? I wanted to birth her, but it didn't end up happening. But the really cool thing is,
Why is my shirt?
a very good friend of mine at the time was at the beach when I was giving birth to her, and a whole pot of dolphins was swimming by as I was giving birth to Lotus. So that was our dolphin connection.
Should we ask some of the questions?
Yeah, so what do we got?
What is true sleeping like, and can you do nights rest?
Co-sleeping. I can't imagine not doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, not so much in the beginning. Honestly, no. You don't get a real good night's rest in the beginning, unless you have.
Me, on the other hand.
What?
Me, on the other hand.
You, on the other hand, what?
Lotus and I sleep next to each other. We've had the same position of sleeping for a long time.
No.
Yeah, and
Tika is ready for. Tika's getting ready for
a few years now, a good 4 or 5 years or so. Every single time when I come to bed, there's a leg in my spine.
So they deal with the leg.
Sometimes an entire body.
An entire body?
Yeah, I know. But then I wake up and you guys are all cuddled up next to each other, and
Yeah.
it's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, but
but Tiko's ready. He's ready for his own space. So that's one of the things you have to just adjust. You have to pay attention and adjust to what's right when it's right. But when you guys were babies, I can't imagine not co-sleeping.
yeah.
Tori, that's one of the things that I wouldn't ever put a baby, like, no, I'm not putting anybody down. Please don't take it that way if you put your baby in another room. But I would never, ever do that because, oh my God, like I wanted my babies right next to me. I wanted to be able to hear them. And also if you're nursing, it's so much easier. I can't imagine having to get up in the middle of the night and heat up a bottle and get your baby out of the crib. So when you're co-sleeping, you're on the same sleep cycle. So you're kind of waking up at the same time. If the baby's in another room, you can be woken up out of a dead sleep over and over again, which really can lead to madness. It's not a good thing. When you're co-sleeping, you kind of wake up at the same time. You just roll over, baby nurses. Baby falls back to sleep. So I would just nurse the babies throughout the night. And they like to nurse a lot. So no, I didn't sleep much in those first days.
Yes.
It's
I
true.
nursed a lot.
You both nursed a lot. Sometimes I had to turn my back to them because I think if you're facing them, they can smell the milk. So they'll just want to keep nursing. So sometimes I did turn my back just so I could get a little bit of sleep. Go ahead, honey. What do you want to say?
I remember you used to sleep in the middle, and me and Tika would sleep on both sides of the bed so both of us could snuggle.
We did. It used to be that I was in the middle, and then I started needing that little shelf next to the bed to put stuff on. So now I sleep on the side, and then Lotus, and then Tika. So we sleep in one king bed now.
I remember another reason. I also kind of was in that situation because I was always very close to the edge of the bed. Like I've always been scared. I've actually always been scared of sleeping on the side of the bed because I've always been like when I was on the side, I've always been sleeping very close to the edge.
Yeah, I've fallen off of the bed onto the wood twice.
Well, so when Tika was first born, we had our bed, normal height, and then we took down one, and we took down another, again. And now it's just a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
So because I learned that lesson very early to go before I didn't even know he could move yet, and he was napping, but it must have been after the 6 months.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle.
How that worked.
I'm actually in the middle now because I had a fear of that.
Yeah, and he rolled himself off the bed, so that was just okay. Mattress is going on the floor now.
But anyway, I don't really see why we need to have the bed up. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
No, we're used to it now. We're used to having
Yeah.
a big bed on the floor.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Or
I don't,
should we
it's just
say
it's
mattress?
such a nice family time. Like if you haven't had much time with your family all day long,
Can I
just
read some comments?
to cozy up all together at night and just have that time together, that energetic time together while you're
Can
sleeping.
I answer some
It's so
questions?
bonding. It's just such a beautiful bonding experience. My kids are both snuggly and cuddly and loving, and
I want to answer some questions.
I don't know if there are anymore. Are there any more
Yeah,
questions?
these got lost in the back. So a few of these,
Can I?
how do you find your learning materials?
No, I answered that.
Oh, do you have to take a
No,
test at
we
the end of the school
don't.
season? Did we answer that?
They have to do tests, certain grades. I can't remember what it is. I think it's that No Child Left Behind thing. 3rd grade, 5th grade. I can't remember exactly which grades, but it doesn't matter. Nothing matters about the test. You don't even have to turn the results into the school district.
Mommy.
You just have to prove that they've taken the test.
There's a question.
So, okay, what do you got?
Is meditation a yoga and daily practice?
Is meditation and yoga a daily practice?
Oh, yoga. I didn't read the yoga part. They don't do yoga. My kids don't do yoga.
Sometimes I do arm workouts with you.
That's not yoga.
Sometimes. No, they're not into yoga. So I don't have this thing of, making them do things. That's part of the unschooling concept. I personally do yoga every single day,
Daddy
physical
said
yoga
waking up was the best.
with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy did. So they haven't picked up on yoga. I got them some kids yoga videos when they were little and they just never really took to it. So I am more of a believer in do what you want to, be an example. So I do yoga every single day. I go for a walk every single day. It's just the way I take care of my body.
A thing just came to my mind. Well, 2 things. Actually, just one. A good app if you want your kid, like for music, a good app for learning piano. You can get for your kids is called Simply Piano.
You have to pay for that though.
Okay, you guys wanted it.
Yeah.
It's like a music app where it basically like gives your child steps and it tells you how to play, basically.
And Lotus is developing an interest in music as well, but we don't, like I said, we don't really push things. We let them kind of figure it out on their own. She's really into singing and was a little bit songwriting. She's written a couple of her little songs, and we've started kind of writing one official song. We work on that every once in a while with her. So we tried voice lessons with her. She wasn't quite old enough yet.
Yeah, she did about 3 weeks.
Yeah, to do the practicing. So we might try that again in a year or so and see if she.
Yeah, or when next time.
Yeah, because you want to do it in person.
Yeah, rather than online. I think it'd be more fun in person.
Well, I also want to, at least until the coronas, if the next class with other kids for vocals starts before corona ends, I want to do that.
Okay. So I don't know. My top parenting tips from my personal perspective, and again, everybody, really my biggest personal tip is listen to your inner voice, listen to your heart, and just always be guided inwardly and let your kids guide you, because yeah, it would have been great. I would have said, oh yeah, I would love for my kids to do yoga every day and blah, 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 all this stuff, and probably not be on their electronics as much as they are. But when it comes right down to it, you're nurturing them. You're nurturing who they are as beings and who they came here to be. And that's the biggest lesson.
Tico.
So we can have all kinds of ideas about what we want our kids to be and how we want our kids to be. But when it comes right down to it, they came here to be who they came here to be. And we have to honor and respect that. So you know, people might think I'm crazy for letting my son be on the computer all day long, but guess what? That's what he came here to do. And so why would I not let him do what he came here to do? You know, my job is just to nurture them into evolving into what they came here to do, what their life purpose is. And that's all I try to do, is help them find that, give them as much of a stable base as possible. The reason I ask them to meditate every day is because I want them to find their true self, and I want them to find what they really love and what's really important to them. The vegan thing is really
Why are
important
you
to me
sitting like
because I like what?
Why are you sitting like that, Tixo?
Oh,
That's how I'm sitting.
because I just want them to learn to respect and love all of life, and I think that that's a value that's been instilled. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
The vegan thing. What do you think about the vegan thing?
Yeah. I never really found it limiting, actually. Maybe like once or twice, but personally, I find meat gross, so I don't really find it constricting.
Yeah. What do you think about the vegan thing, Missy?
I find it okay. Okay.
You wish you could eat some foods.
I wish I could eat those chocolate covered like tortilla thingies, like those crispy.
The tortilla things that we get.
Oh yeah. So
And they have
I was-
drizzled chocolate over it.
the problem is so many things have a little bit of milk disguised in them. Things that like, so they get these like rice, crispy, puffy, I don't know what they are, things.
Yeah. And they're not like Rice
there's a
Krispies.
version with
Macaron.
like,
Are you talking about macarons? Macarons?
no, those things that you're talking about. So there's a
Yeah.
version with a little chocolate sprinkled on it, and the chocolate has some milk in it, so we couldn't get those anymore. So
There's a lot of dark chocolate options, though. There's a surprising amount of dark chocolate options.
So your only issue with the vegan thing is that sometimes you want to eat regular candy, which really isn't even not vegan, it's just not healthy. And sometimes milk, because sometimes things have milk in it. Would that be correct?
You let me have M&Ms
Yes.
one time, the chocolate M&Ms.
Yeah, sometimes I just go, whatever. We're at a wedding. All the kids are eating M&Ms. They give us little things of M&Ms. I'm like, whatever, just go eat the M&Ms. I let you have birthday cake once too.
Yeah.
I was just so tired of saying no to him. I was just so tired of saying no because everywhere we go, it's just, you know, not many people are eating the way we
And
eat.
I don't eat massive amounts of sugary candy and stuff, obviously. So I'm very not adjusted to sugary stuff. So I went over, I had a slice of cake. I ate about a quarter of it and then went and threw up. I was not
Did
used.
you actually throw up?
I think I did, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
used to that kind of
Wait,
sugar.
I just remembered something.
That was one of the times where I said, oh, fine, I'm going to go sit at the coffee bar and you eat the cake. I don't want to watch. Just enjoy it. Have fun with your friends.
I just remembered something.
What?
I remember when we were at the hospital when Mima was dying, Tixo threw up all over
That
your
didn't
pants.
have to do with it though. That was
You
because
had a tick.
yeah, I had a tick and then somebody started telling me about Lyme disease and I got very scared and puked
All over me.
all over your leg.
So, yeah, so with tick bites, we have a great natural protocol, which involves taking arnica and, oh, what is it? Is it Restox? There's one that's particularly for bug bites. And then we put on, we topically put on lavender oil and, oh boy, there's another oil that we topically put on as well. Yeah, so we've dealt really well with tick bites. Oh, and we also give them silver, the colloidal silver. Or sovereign silver, I think is the best kind.
I just
Yeah, so we deal with
remembered another
most
thing.
things we deal with
I
naturally.
just remembered another short tick story.
Okay.
When we were
My back hurts, guys, the way we're sitting.
when we were visiting my aunt Uma, I remember she was brushing my hair, and back then, like I didn't know how to brush my hair, so people would brush it for me, and I would scream and cry because it hurt really bad. And one time and when we were visiting my aunt Uma's, I actually threw a fit.
You
From
threw a
it?
lot of fits when we were with Aunt Uma. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she was brushing my bangs and found a tick on my forehead. And I remember you said like that was the first time you were actually glad I had a fit.
Well, right, because it made Uma find your tick.
Yeah.
Yes, Rod said breaking through my old parenting program. Yes, so Rod, their dad, didn't really have any of these concepts or belief systems.
Everything with colors and sweets.
Yes. Yes, that is right, Regina. So anyway, let me say this about Daddy first. So he's really had to relearn and readjust everything he's known about parenting and child raising and everything else. He's doing well though, right? It's a learning lesson. We just keep learning. They teach me stuff all the time. Like if I'm not being a nice person, they let me know right away because they know that they can let me know.
And also because we just don't like that.
Right, but it's okay in our family to say that. You know what, mommy, that doesn't feel good, and I don't like that or whatever. Like it's okay for them to tell me the way that they're feeling and tell me if I'm not doing something properly. Is that true?
Yeah.
We also don't
So we'll talk about it.
do like any punishments, like nothing. Like if we do something, like we would meditate on it. We would do anything. No punishes, no spanking, like no.
No, we don't spank. We don't punish. Well, if things get that, and I'm not proud of this, and I would like to find a better way, but I do take Lotus's iPad away when
Most of the time
I
that's
don't
just
know what
because you're
else to
lazy.
do.
Yeah, most of the time that's because you're lazy and you really don't just feel like streaming. So
I don't feel like dealing with. I don't scream. Do I scream?
No, you don't feel like Lotus screaming.
Oh, I don't feel like Lotus screaming. Yeah. Yeah. So, but sometimes it's something we've discovered works with Lotus. Sometimes she gets a little too obsessed with the iPad, which creates a certain behavior. And so
Yes.
then we know that if the iPad goes away for 3 days, everything readjusts and she realigns and she just becomes peaceful again.
It's very surprising how much of a change that can happen. Focus.
Yeah, why is it doing that?
Also,
'Cause you're up there and down here.
a way, like for example, if I wasn't coming to bed, a way you could get me up in 3 seconds is I'm gonna take your iPad away.
That's right, and I do that, and that's one thing I am not proud of. I don't actually like that, but it's like late at night. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I want to go to bed, and Lotus won't get off her iPad, and I don't feel like having her scream at me, although she does if I say that.
But she'll stream less because she knows if she keeps streaming.
But if I say
she'll take it
you're
away.
gonna lose your iPad tomorrow if you don't come to bed, then she
I
will
come up
to
in
bed.
3
So
seconds.
I don't recommend doing that. That is something I'm not proud of, and I would like to change that. I just haven't figured out
Also,
how yet.
remember
Unless
that
like
one?
she was watching things that would constantly have ads for toys and in Walmart she
Oh,
had
that was
really
a few
big
years
hit.
ago. That was
Yeah.
a few years ago. So we've had to adjust what she watches. Oh yeah, the iPad's been an interesting learning thing with her because Tico and I would notice, wow, she's watching these shows where they promote McDonald's, they promote certain toys, and we're really having trouble with her because she wants to go to McDonald's. She doesn't know what McDonald's is. You know how we cured the McDonald's thing, other than saying we're not going to watch those channels anymore? We were driving somewhere and we went to a rest stop and we kind of walked over the hill and there was this huge field of cows. And we went down to talk to the cows. They were coming right up to the fence. And Lotus said, well, why do they have numbers on their ears, Mommy? And I said, well, because they're going to kill them and eat them and make them into McDonald's hamburgers or something like that. Yeah, and that's how she reacted. She got flipped out and got very sad. So that cured our McDonald's problem.
I don't like it when you just did that.
I know, I'm sorry, but it's the reality. I know, sweetie, I'm sorry. It's sad. Anyway, so yeah, the iPad's been a learning thing for us, and I'm still. So what I could do in those moments. And what I do is if I have more time and energy, rather than saying I'm going to take the iPad away, I say, okay, Lodi, it's time to sit and meditate. Much better method, but that can take an hour or two if she's really in a mood. And when I'm really tired and it's 11 o'clock
And
at
sometimes
night,
she won't even meditate.
no, she won't meditate, but I will sit and meditate where she is.
Right.
And it
yeah.
eventually takes her out of her mood, because the way that I give Shaktipat and the energetic work that I do, it will change her energy. It's just that when it's 11 o'clock at night and I want to go to bed, and
somebody tell me?
I don't
Yes.
want to take the time to do
Someone
that.
commented.
I do take the iPad away.
Yes, it happened with my kids as well. The electronics change their behavior. What I see that works in this situation, this situations, is to do activities with them as much as I can in nature, physics stuff.
Yeah. Getting out in nature. Take the iPad away and get out in nature. It's a good idea. It's a great idea. And
Lotus doesn't like going outside that much.
she doesn't love it. But at the beginning of this COVID thing, we made a point to go for a hike every single day. And that was really good. But then they got tired of it. They didn't really want to keep hiking every day. But it's true. Getting out in nature is go hug a tree, right?
Yeah, go hug a tree.
Go hug a tree. It makes you feel better. Is there anything else to talk about?
I don't think
Does
so.
anybody,
I'm
did
good.
we get in,
I'm
did we
good.
not
Okay,
cover
bye.
anything? Does anybody,
Yeah, anybody put in some comments?
oh, I know what I was going to say, Regina. Yeah, where we shopped at Wegmans, and I think they've changed this since, but they had all of their candy, like normal candy section, where you go in the bins and you take the candy out, right next to the health food section, which is mainly where we shopped. So to get to where we shopped, we always had to go through this. Yeah, some colors and
They got rid of that though.
fun. I know. It was just interesting for a while that they had them right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, I hope this was helpful to people.
Yeah,
We just wanted to share a little bit of what we do. And yeah, you can always put questions in the comments if there's something you wanted to
Feel
know
free
that we didn't.
to ask any questions in the comments on the replay.
Yeah,
If you didn't answer, if you
You're
didn't,
good.
if you couldn't ask anything on the live stream.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, you guys good? Do you want to say anything else?
Bye.
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 Tika's saying bye.
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 Now, let's go be one with the floor.
Oh yes.
Actually, I
One
might.
with the floor.
Actually, I'm gonna watch Lion Guard.
Okay.
Actually.